In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in and I don't want to fit in. Have you ever seen me without this stupid hat on? That's weird.
As the godfather of indie cinema, Quentin Tarantino likes to say,
please, God, no more Quentin Tarantino references.
Since the conception of this channel, there has been one program that I have always wanted to discuss. Based on the Archie comic books, Riverdale is a fiery mess of brilliance. Even the very idea of a dark and edgy interpretation of the Archie comics is hilarious to me. Here's a show that, unlike rival programs like The Flash, Arrow, is absolutely aware of how absurd it is. You see, in media we live in a teenage-obsessed time. However, unlike rival show 13 Reasons Why, Riverdale does not wave the flag of superiority. The show has never attempted to be anything more than just a good time. Riverdale doesn't start its episodes that detail murderous psychopaths or rampant incest with a PSA from the cast and crew damning the characters' actions. You see, Riverdale doesn't actually give a flying fuck.
shut the hell up, imposter.
In the 3 seasons that Riverdale has existed for, we have seen the show progress and evolve substantially. Initially, Riverdale was pretty bad. It was edgy, extremely try-hard, and it came across as totally unaware of what it was doing. However, in the last few episodes of the show's first season, Riverdale saved itself. It rose above the pit of mediocrity and it created its own subcategory. You see, Riverdale brought schlock back to mainstream TV.
I'm the damaged loner outsider from the wrong side of the tracks.
Throughout this video today, I will look at the first 2 seasons of Riverdale with a little hint of the third just because we're 5 episodes in, and discuss how the show, through the characters and ridiculous storylines, has been able to embrace schlock and teen dramedies. So grab one of Pop's iconic and famous thick milkshakes, because we're about to discuss Riverdale and why it is fucking brilliant. Before we get into actually what Riverdale is all about, I think we need to understand what schlock actually means. It's a term that's been thrown around a lot online recently, and a lot of people don't actually understand the nuance to it. Not everything bad is schlock. Schlock is basically described as being of low quality or value. When people discuss schlock, most films that come to mind are Sharknado, The Room, and Plan 9 from Outer Space. Or, more specifically, Ed Wood's entire filmography.
Now no one gives 2 fucks for Bale.
These are films that tell horrendous and bad stories in completely serious ways, much like Riverdale. Since Gossip Girl's conclusion in December of 2012, there was really a hole left in pop culture for schlock and absurdity. Now, of course, there were shows that tried to recapture what Gossip Girl did, such as The Vampire Diaries and Pretty Little Liars, but they never caught on in the exact same way that Gossip Girl did. And that's where Riverdale really enters the picture. Every season has a distinct feel and vibe. The first season flirted with a murder/whodunit storyline, which then transformed into a homicide incest one. Bear in mind, this is the same first season that central romance was between a teacher and her student. It's a fucking wild ride. Can I just say that now? In Angela Watercutter's brilliant Wired article, she writes, Riverdale ticks off the teen soap boxes. Cheerleaders, local mysteries, high school sex, coify dudes with 8-pack abs are all accounted for. But that's not why it's a joy. The show fills up my DVR because Riverdale is goddamn ridiculous. Watercutter is extremely right. Riverdale is absolutely bonkers and ridiculous. There's a level of self-awareness that is presented throughout nearly every episode of the program. It's sometimes hard to watch due to the absolute seriousness of it all. Every time a character refers to a deceased mafioso by the name of Papa Poutine, you can almost see the actors cracking up.
My dad says you're one of Hiram's capos. That you made your bones taking care of Papa Poutine? No.
This is a show that prides itself on its sheer ridiculousness and absurdity. In my eyes, being self-aware is when you play the ridiculousness 100% straight. That's why films like 21 Jump Street are a personal favourite of mine. They do not belittle whatever it is they are saying. They know it is bizarre, but they play it as if it were reality.
You play saxophone at my sister's wedding, man.
Tough titty, I fucked her too.
What? What?
Instead of doubling down and making the show more of a mess, such as the second season of 13 Reasons Why, the creators of Riverdale really embraced the memery and schlock, and that really started happening from the 10th episode on, and I will explain that right now.
DJ turn it up, better DJ bring it back. Dollar DJ turn it up, better DJ bring it back. Dollar DJ turn it up, better DJ bring it back. Dollar DJ turn it up, better DJ bring it back. Dollar DJ turn it up, better DJ bring it back. Dollar DJ turn it up, better DJ bring it back. Dollar DJ turn it.
There were 13 episodes in the first season of Riverdale, and I don't really think the show became what it is known as today until the 10th episode. In this episode, we discover that Riverdale is at least somewhat self-aware of its schlock and absurdity. This is summarized thanks to the iconic, the infamous and monumental dialogue as delivered by Jughead Jones.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in, and I don't want to fit in. Have you ever seen me without this stupid hat on? That's weird.
One of the biggest criticisms thrown at the show was the character of Jughead. People found him pretentious, weird, and completely unnatural. He was always edgy, he was always moody, he was always whining about something, and that's not really his character in the comic books, to what I understand, and I get that fans were sort of annoyed about that. But I think the showrunners really embraced that criticism and changed the character for the better come this episode. In this brief 13-second clip, we see that Jughead is somewhat aware of his sheer memery. The writers, they got the joke. They get that the audience finds Jughead pretentious and hysterical. Before this episode, the creators were going about it all wrong. They were basically making a serious, dark interpretation of the fucking Archie comic books. I don't care what generation or what year you're in, but that is never, ever going to work.
Some idealized, make-believe version of the American dream.
Hell, if you look at this show from this point, the neon is enhanced, the weirdness is tripled, and the show gets a lot better because of that. No writer jots these lines down and thinks they're insanely incredible. At least not in a completely serious manner. Jughead is meant to sound like a pretentious edgelord because that's exactly how he's written and portrayed. When people meme Jughead or Cole Sprouse's acting, I can't help but laugh. The dude is doing exactly what is fucking required of him. And the fact that you're getting the response that you meme or you make fun of that character, you're doing exactly what they want. They don't think Jughead is really deep or philosophical. They know he's a fucking keck. As previously mentioned, Riverdale's ability to consistently change its style and feel is incredibly refreshing. Riverdale went from a murder mystery to a straight-up slasher in its sophomore season. And what an insanely genius idea that was. One of the recurring arcs of Riverdale's second season was the mysterious murderer, the Black Hood. To quote the character himself, he was basically cleansing the town of sinners. This killer developed a personal relationship with Betty Cooper, one of the show's best characters. Using Betty as like an accomplice to this whole murder case was one of the best parts of season 2, and it made it incredibly enjoyable. The murder plot added a lot to the show's legitimacy without ever taking away from its schlock. If anything, the murder plot allowed the show to embrace its B-movie qualities, such as films like Evil Dead or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This second season was Betty's show, and she absolutely nailed it. One scene that perfectly summarizes the ridiculousness of season 2 features Betty as she attempts to force her way into the Southside Serpents, a gang which her boyfriend, Jughead Jones, is the reluctant leader of. So how does she do this, you ask? How does she convince her boyfriend to be Southside Queen? Well, she does a striptease, of course. In front of a room of middle-aged biker gang member men, she does a striptease set to Mad World by Tears for Fears.
When people run in circles, it's all very, very mad world.
And it's even weirder when you remember, holy shit, these people are meant to be 16. None of the characters react like human beings would. Like Jughead's dad walks on stage and he's all like, oh, congratulations, Betty. The show embraced meme culture so substantially in this second season. And perhaps the most Riverdale reveal ever, that Betty's father was in fact the Black Hood.
You're the Black Hood.
That's right.
Season 2 also featured the first of what I hope is many musical episodes of Riverdale. Instead of doing what most shows do with their musical episodes, in which they basically just do a musical episode that doesn't really tie into the show's plot at all, Riverdale made sure this episode tied directly to the main plot of Season 2, the murdering Black Hood. The episode toyed with our emotions, being lighthearted and funny until the final 3 minutes, which featured the most terrifying moment of the entire show, the infamous murder of Midge. Just when you think the ridiculousness has disappeared for 45 minutes, the showrunners bring it right back and more insane than ever before. Even with its third season, which is 5 episodes in, Riverdale has changed its pace and tone once again. Now the show has a supernatural, almost cult vibe to it, and it is absolutely awesome. This third season has introduced the murderous game of griffins and gargoyles, which has left a ton of suicides in the town of Riverdale. Again, the creators have embraced a unique creativity unseen in rival shows. Episode 4's The Midnight Club is a Breakfast Club inspired episode which follows the main actors of Riverdale portraying the younger versions of their on-screen parents. The costuming, dialogue, and acting is hysterical. They don't even attempt to be similar to their on-screen parents. It's just Cole Sprouse doing a different version of Cole Sprouse's voice.
Freddie Andrews. Why? You're not even on our team.
No, but the baseball team got me into streak last year and it got me some serious crap with the ladies, so.
In all honesty, I think it's super easy to shit talk a show like Riverdale. I mean, it's made to be insulted and made fun of. It's a show that's dark and edgy, but, you know, unless you watch more than one episode of it, you won't realize that it's kind of aware of that. My point is this: Riverdale isn't The Wired or Mad Men. It's not trying to be intellectual. When I see people insult the show for doing stupid things with the dialogue or acting, I just sort of get a little annoyed. This show is harming no one. This show isn't increasing suicide rates like 13 Reasons Why. So instead of going after a show like Riverdale, instead of insulting a show like Riverdale, watch Riverdale. Through its ridiculous creativity, with every season changing its tone and vibe, and the acting just being some of the most memey shit I've ever seen.
The Serpent Queen is a warrior queen.
I don't understand why Riverdale doesn't have more fans, in all honesty. Riverdale is a show that has its heart in the right place. Sure, it does some really, really dumb things, but at its heart, it is a ridiculous and harmless show that is a wonderful way to escape on a Friday night. For all its flaws, I love the schlocky, weird, and utterly ridiculous mess that is Riverdale. Before I sign off, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone for watching this video today. You can always subscribe, like, and share this video around with your Riverdale friends or people who absolutely hate the show in an attempt to bring them onto the light side. Come the conclusion of the third season, I will perhaps discuss that in a video review, so you never know. Yeah, I will see you very, very soon when I discuss a very, very good film, which I don't want to give away yet, just in case I change my mind, as usual. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys very, very, very soon. Bye-bye.
When the morning